Hello, this is Kevin, and this is the YouTube channel Black Men Being Brutally Honest with Everyone. I am one third of the habitual line steppers, and let me tell you a little bit about that for a second as you read the screen here and look at these dumbass people that we keep putting in office. I say we. I wouldn't personally vote for these jackasses, but hey, you know what? They go into these little small podunk towns and these little redneck ass states, and what do? They get these dumb motherfuckers out of their house and say, we're going to do everything that we can to make life better for you. And don't even explain it to them. All these people do is see a white face and they are sold. So, see, and let me go ahead and start like this. This right here is definitely a women's rights issue. Yes, I do believe in women's rights. I know that the feminists are going to start screaming their eyeballs out about this because, feminism always interjects into women's rights or intersects as in intersectionality into women's rights. But whatever. I don't agree with everything what feminism says or feminism does, but, some of the things I say might coincide with their talking points. For instance, the my body, my choice, which I differ very much from them. And it looks like because things like this keep happening, you're going to have to make better choices with your bodies out there, ladies. Because it's like, this is not just happening in Alabama. This is starting to happen all over the country. Just reading, I think it was the state of Ohio. They are making an 11-year-old rape victim give birth to a child that happened because of that rape. And I think stuff like that right there is something that means that something is seriously wrong with our society, no matter how you feel about abortion or not. I mean, you're telling rape victims who didn't plan on having those kids by those bastards that, you know what, you got to give birth to that. You got to. And with this Alabama abortion ban rather, they said it doesn't, like, victims of rape and incest got to have the children. Like, honestly, with incest, like, you're going to give birth to a child that's going to have a serious amount of medical problems. I mean, it's just like society is just getting dumber and dumber and dumber and dumber. But let's just get to the, these are just my thoughts right here. My brutally honest thoughts on these abortion bans happening all over the country. Now, being a younger person that I was, at one point, I was pro-life. I was one of those younger people that thought that, an abortion was murder. And that's all you're hearing these days. Abortion is murder. Abortion is murder. That's all you're hearing. So here's the thing. Now they're saying since abortion is murder, they want to ban abortion. Now, there's always an agenda with stuff like this. And let me be careful with what I say because you know how YouTube has been getting lately. I feel like they just want to feed more kids to the system. And as it relates to our community, which I mean the Black, African American, whatever you want to use, ADOS community, we like to have sex. We like to have unprotected sex. We like to have a lot of unprotected sex with no responsibility or no awareness as to what could happen afterwards. Because I always say, you know what? If you have unprotected sex, male or female, you need to be prepared for what comes afterwards. And there's two big things that can happen. And number one, this is the one that's never mentioned, an STD. Number two, a pregnancy that both of you may not be ready for. But hey, since you made the adult decision to have unprotected sex, you need to be ready for what comes afterwards, especially with stuff happening like this. My body, my choice. Okay, you need, okay, and I'm not, and you get real dicey with telling women what to do with, like they say, don't tell me what to do with my body. I'm gonna tell you, you need to start practicing all those contraceptives that all those contraceptive options that you have. You need to start practicing those if you don't want a child, because I don't know. I'm more of a prevention guy. Why get pregnant in the first place if you know they're going to start doing stuff like this? You're letting people cut on you. I've heard of a woman that had a botched abortion and she couldn't have a child if she wanted to right now. But hey, you know what? And you know what? And I'll even say this. I would rather not women give birth to kids that they cannot take responsibility for. I mean, I hear a lot of this in our community. Oh, the kid went astray because the father wasn't there. I mean, hey, you know what? Things have good things about it. Things have bad things about it. I guess that's the one I would say. Good thing about abortion is that it prevented a lot of knuckleheads from being here. And the way some of these children turn out in our community, these fatherless children, like, wow, I mean, shit. It's like, and I don't mean to sound heartless about it, but hey, you hear about these kids, these knucklehead ass kids, and I've heard about several of them in my home city of Montgomery, Alabama, walk into a school and shoot somebody. I mean, and this is a really dark argument. Death comes for us all, and it comes for us one way or another. Abortion is, like, unfortunately, for an unborn fetus, one of those ways. But notice this picture here. Notice this picture. It's just like when Amber Geiger shot Botham Jean in his apartment in Dallas, Texas. The first person they went and got was a black police officer to put in front of the media. I feel like right here with this picture, this is the same thing. And I think this is Representative Terry Collins of Decatur, Alabama, which is one of those podunk towns that I be talking about, because that's how they win it. That's how these GOP win it. They go into the smaller towns and they rally up support. Plus, they put a woman's face right there. They put a woman right there to talk about, the morality of the killing an unborn fetus. I feel like this. If you want all those children to be here, you will focus more on education, educating these kids, setting these kids up for success, youth programs to put these kids on the right path. You just want these kids to be here so you can have an overflow of people that you can arrest and put in the system. And the school to prison pipeline for profitability. But that's another story. And you've heard this quite often in YouTube videos. The point I'm trying to say is this. I fully agree. If you're not ready to take care of a child, or a pregnancy comes about through rape and incest, abortion should be an option. Let me repeat that. If you are not ready to take care of a child, or a pregnancy comes out through rape and incest, you should have that right to get rid of that unborn fetus. I mean, people people make bad decisions all the time. And what I always implore people to do that have unprotected sex is to maybe not have it unprotected. And if you have unprotected sex, there are options you need. There's male birth control now. But I think they just completed safe testing on male birth control. So guys out here, Don't trust these women right off bat. You should know better anyway. There's a thing called sex education out here. I mean, I had it in high school. I don't know what these dumb asses are doing now since they're, passing laws like this. I mean, dudes, for real, don't have unprotected sex. Use condoms. If it's medically right for you, use that male birth control. This is me talking to the guys. As far as the women and all their options of birth control, I'm telling these guys right now, don't trust those women. There are women out here trying to get on an 18-year plan. Let's not discount that. But this shit right here is getting old already, telling women what to do with their bodies. Because clearly it's their body, their choice. They should have, and I'm going to say this repeatedly. If they can't take care of a child, if they can't raise the kid properly, if they were raped or some older relative forcing themselves on a child, and a girl becomes pregnant that way, then abortion should be an option. This is an issue all the way around. It's a health issue because some women physically probably cannot have children. That likely a pregnancy could kill them. Is health, is women's rights, and think about it. And I'm gonna say one more thing. I think that people are starting to realize that now we're in a republic, not a democracy. It says it in the Pledge of Allegiance. These people can do anything they want. They're trying to take everything away. Hell, they can probably take your right to YouTube away. Excuse me. You just research what they're trying to do with net neutrality. And I think Article 13, the UK, they're trying to pass law in the UK to where you can't use memes, and, they'll ban your YouTube videos for using certain, block your YouTube video for using certain images. And it's like, this stuff is serious out here. These are people who had this special education to where it just erased all empathy. We people have no empathy for anyone. But hey, you know what? Stupid folks keep voting these people in. That's why we always stress, and I've always stressed in the past that, see who you voted for locally. See what they represent. Do they represent your interests? We have this movement in the black community. Oh man, voting ain't gonna do no good, no way. And you know what? I believe that these are the results. You got laws like this. So hey, you know what? The best way, in my book, the best way to prevent all of this and to counteract all of this is just to be sexually responsible. I know that's an alien concept. I know that's a talking point that is back and forth in this, what I like to call this sexual frustration gender war. I know it is. But practice safe sex. Practice preventative sex. Because if you have unprotected sex and you don't want a child now, hey, tough titty. Look at these laws, especially in Alabama. I think they passed one in Georgia too. Shoot, forgive me for not having a solid information on Georgia. Yeah, they did pass an abortion law in Georgia, but you know what? Abortion ain't my problem. I mean, it's not. But for who it can potentially become a problem for, this is what's happening. So my suggestion, if you're pissed off with shit like this, get your asses out there and vote. Period. Vote in every fucking thing. Even if you think it doesn't make a difference, hey, you know what? You're at the club. You can go to the club, no hinges. You can go make a weed run, for a lot of you. But you can't take the time out your day to vote. Learn about your local politicians. Because if you don't vote, they win every time. You have no excuses. There's always marching. Yeah, but really, how effective is marching, especially in the black community? Like, is if it's not an economic protest, it's just a hassle. It's just seen as a temporary hassle that will go away. But yeah, like I said, keep not voting and see your rights keep getting chipped away. All right, I'm done. I'm so done with this. It's like, I don't know, our society is just getting dumber and dumber. And it's not just stuff like this. It's not just stuff like this. Am I crusading for women's rights? Hey, I agree with women's rights. Feminism, not so much, especially in the black community. But hey, I'm starting to agree with stuff like this as far as them. It's like, no, you shouldn't be telling women they gotta have kids. They gotta have that child. I believe that people overall should be more responsible. But like I said, health complications, rape, incest, not ready for a kid, those are all good reasons in my book. Because you see the results all the time of people who don't take care of their children. You see those results. And for some reason, and that's probably another video, those people aren't getting abortions. They just aren't. They rather do the finger pointing thing. And I tell every one of them, if you're not ready for a kid, don't have unprotected sex. But anyway, let me tell you something. Yeah, they're and I'm gonna say it one more time. If you are not ready for a child, regardless of the existence of STDs, which is a big factor too, don't have unprotected sex. Have protected sex. Hell, they got all kinds of things that make protected sex feel just wonderful. Protected sex. Protected sex prevents a lot of things. Because look at this. They're going to force you to have these kids now. They're going to force you to do it, whether you don't want it or not. It's not a moral thing. It's, oh my God, oh, it's murder. Abortion is murder, because they don't give a damn about them kids. If they gave a damn about them, hell, they will set them up for success. They will focus more on improving education and getting funding for extracurricular activities and youth programs, because obviously there are going to be a lot more children born. Get ready for them to carry on to your society. See, these three assholes in the picture, they don't see past themselves. But hey, I don't want to vote. Vote is a waste of time. Yep. Keep thinking like that. Okay, all right, guys. I think this is about it on this issue for me. I'm not really pro-life. I'm not really pro-choice, but what I am is pro-common sense. I do not believe putting a person's health at risk just so, uh, because you think God meant for that child to be here. Now, with the concept of God, if that child was truly meant to be here, and this is the concept of God that everybody puts out there, that child would be here. Period. Period. I mean, hell, if a fetus ends at abortion, that was, if you have that concept of God, that was God's will too. I mean, I'm just giving y'all what I think, man. I don't think that anybody should be forced to do anything, because once you start forcing people to do stuff, it won't stop there. Today is abortion, and they're constantly working to chip away at your freedom of speech, whether you like it or not. It could be abortion one day, it could be something else the next day, it could be something else the next day, until you can't do shit. Not even YouTube. And I know that's probably a scary thought for some of you YouTubers out there, even though a lot of y'all boast like, I have YouTube, man, I'll be, and it may be true, but hey, you know what? The reality is you still can YouTube. You don't know what you're going to do until you're without something. Just talk on the phone with these folks. But anyway, if you like my commentary and you want to see more of it, you can subscribe to this channel. Go below this screen, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already done it. If you don't like my commentary, you have a chance to offer your rebuttals, and you can still subscribe to this channel. Hit like, and then there's a dislike button, so you got that too, because that's the dream of democracy right there. They have you thinking that they gave it to you when they actually didn't. It's like some measure of power. Yeah. All right. Well, I think I'm pretty much done. I'm pretty much done. Shout out to the underrated darkness. He gave me a shout out in the chat. Good morning, brother. And Dwayne Older Feather. He said they just trying to trap baby daddies. I mean, if you want to say something like they just trying to trap baby daddies or whatever, that's another issue. This is at the lawmaker level right here. This is not at the, well, maybe he did make that comment when I made that talking point, so, that might have been it. Free healthcare too, wishful thinking. Yeah, that's something that presidential candidate Bernie Sanders is pushing for, free healthcare. But see, if you had Bernie Sanders in office instead of Donald Trump, Bernie Sanders, I think, is pretty pro-life. Let me research that fact. But Bernie Sanders he calls himself a feminist, which I think I wouldn't agree with a male feminist. But if you don't want the government to keep trying to tell you what to do with your body or whatever, you're probably going to vote for the candidate that aligns with your interests next year. I'm not saying it's got to be Bernie. You might think Kamala Harris is a good one. Sorry for that chuckle. But anyway, I mean, don't taking away women's rights. And I know this sounds a little fam. Taking away women's rights, it's probably it's not going to stop there. They're trying to take away your rights just virtually to do everything, and and it's a sad thing. But until they take those rights away. And I mean, not just your right to do with your body, but all your other rights too. Then we need to get the word out there that we can't allow them to do this. We the people. Remember that. All right, I'm out. All right. Thanks for listening. Have a beautiful day. And like I said, please subscribe.